Hello and good morning or good afternoon, wherever you are joining us from. We are happy that you are with us. Again, this is our fourth annual Equity Institute from the Partnership for College Completion. We are a nonprofit organization here in Chicago. Thank you for being here with us. We are going to be together here for the next half hour. This is kind of a lightning round of sorts in terms of our content presentation. And so I want to make sure folks, as they trickle into this, just pay attention to the chat. If you have questions about this, we are recording the session. So please know that PCC will be following up with all who registered for the event. You'll be receiving recordings and other resources. So my name is Joe Salcedo. I serve as a Senior Partnerships Manager with the Partnership for College Completion, working with a number of our college and community college and four-year institutional partners throughout the state of Illinois. We're very thankful. We have a great presentation. Please know that if you have questions, because we know many of you are going to be eager to learn more about how this initiative, was able to be implemented, how it's designed, and all of that. We encourage you to follow up with our presenters following today's presentation. So without further ado, we have a Panther Digital Initiative presentation regarding supporting student enrollment and retention with equitable access to technology. And I'm delighted to share the virtual space here with Dr. Marisol Velazquez, who serves as Associate Provost and Vice President of Student Services at Morton College. And then we also, she is joined by her colleague, Lisa Jujovic, who is currently consulting with and serving as Director of Institutional Research at Morton College as well. So Dr. Marisol and Lisa.
Thank you, Joe, and we want to thank everyone that selected to attend our session today. So thank you so much, but also a special thank you to all of you at PCC for providing us this space today and allowing us to share our story with all of you. So thank you so much for that. Is it okay if I go ahead and share my screen?
Yes, give us a second.
Okay, looks great.
All right, perfect. So we'll go ahead and get started. We wanted to first provide you with a really brief agenda of what we will be covering today. I'm not sure why I cannot advance. I apologize for that. Of course, everything was working fine before, and now it's not. So let me try this again. And of course, we only have 30 minutes, and I'm taking majority of the time to figure this out. So my apologies.
That's okay.
What's going on that I can't progress? Is it okay if I just leave it like this? I know it's not in full screen, but I think you can see it. Is that okay? I just don't want to continue wasting time. So thank you again so much. Sorry for those issues. But we wanted to provide a brief agenda of what we're going to be covering today. A brief snapshot of Morton College. What is a Panther Digital Initiative, PDI for short? Its foundation, its impact, the impact that COVID had and how that influenced PDI, some of the factors that we took into consideration, but also we'll cover very, very preliminary results of the PDI and just how we plan addressing some challenges and how our plans of moving forward. So that's just a little bit about what we will cover today. A little bit about Morton College. Morton College is located in Sister, Illinois. We are the second oldest community college in the state. If Joliet Junior College is here, shout out to them. They are the first, not just in Illinois, but in the nation. So if they're here, quick shout out to them. We in Morton College, we do issue certificates and associate's degrees. Our credit enrollment is close to a little bit over 5,400 students. The demographic profile of our institution is very similar to other community colleges in the nation, where it's primarily female. 59% of our students are female, 41% male, 70% of our students do enroll part-time, and 84% of our students self-identify as Hispanic or Latinx. And the median age of our students is 24. Now, a little bit about the Panther Digital Initiative. It began this past fall in 2023, and we issued devices to all of our first-year students that enrolled full-time and were degree seeking. Students were issued either a MacBook Pro or an iPad, depending on the program that they selected. Depending on their program of study, students that were either in programs in CT such as welding, automotive, they received iPads, and the remaining of our students received MacBook Pros. Our faculty were trained and they opted into participating into the initiative. A lot of our resources did go into making sure that our faculty knew how to use the device and also how to apply it in the classroom. Some of the guiding principles that we have for PDI is: one, eliminate the digital divide by providing equitable access to cutting edge technology, not just any type of technology, but high quality technology. Our second goal is to remove financial barriers for students to access ebooks, apps, inclusive access that would allow them to succeed in and outside the classroom. And third, to enhance the student experience through technology. As most of you know, and studies show that one key racial equity indicator is to provide students with basic need resources such as technology. So we are very proud to say that we became the first Hispanic serving institution in the state of Illinois to deploy this type of Apple program and this type of technology to this scale. So we're really excited to share that. Again, our target audience for this initial phase was first-year full-time degree-seeking students. And we also wanted to share a little bit about a little background in terms of how the PDI began. And it really began with our one-to-one program in the health sciences, nursing. In 2019, our program director proposed to the college to issue all of the nursing students with iPads so the students could have access to technology, to access to ebooks, access to course content through their iPad. And it was a great success that we then expanded it to other areas in the health sciences, such as PTA. So that way it aligned with the department's goals, and it did encourage collaboration between the students and the faculty members. We now are expanded in other CTE areas such as automotive, welding, and business. And the one-to-one program was really the one that set the foundation for our PDI initiative. Also, the COVID pandemic was a huge, we took all the lessons that we learned from the pandemic to develop our program. Like many of your institutions, the pandemic truly illustrated the issues our students were facing. And it was really when we started to scratch the surface, right, and what our students' basic needs were. Some of the challenges that our students face, again, like this is, I know that this is no surprise to you because many of you were experiencing the same things. Our students struggled to transition from remote learning to remote learning. Initially, there was very limited support for them, from not having a device to not having Wi-Fi to not knowing how to log in. However, one particular group of our students that did not struggle with those issues was our nursing students and PTA students that already had devices. More specifically, we did learn during the pandemic that our students did not have the appropriate device. Many of our students are parents, so they shared with us that they only had one device at home, and it was mostly going to their children. So sometimes they were forced to drop out of courses because they did not have a device or they had limited devices at home. So as the pandemic progressed, our response and our call to action was to develop or enhance some of our services that we had in our campus from in what we consider a culture of care, from the expanding our food pantry hours and remaining open throughout the entire pandemic, increasing Wi-Fi access, eliminating fees for our students, and also our laptop program where we did issue devices to our students. However, students had to return them at the end of the semester. But I'm not sure if many of you remember during this time, it was really difficult to get devices. So because everyone was trying to purchase devices also for their students and just nationwide. So whatever we were able to get our hands on was what we purchased. And honestly, that's one of the learning lessons that we took, that we, not all devices obviously work the same, right? So some of those devices weren't the best for our students. Also, our continued work with Apple in learning what other institutions across the nation were doing and how successful they were. We wanted to expand our one-to-one program to include our entire campus, and we began that with our first-year students. And one thing that I definitely want to make clear throughout is that this is not about Apple, it's not about their company, and it's not a promo for Apple either. I'm sure they don't need one, but we did select Apple because our research indicated that the best technology available and what is preferred by students is Apple. So what PDI, what it is for us, is to give the technology that our students truly deserve. So that's why we selected Apple. And we did have resistance, but while we remained focused on the student experience, we did not want our students to feel left out because they did not have a device or they did not have the right device. We did receive funding from a number of grants, and we used a majority of grant funds to be able to purchase over 500 devices. We did receive a lot of college support. This is a college-wide initiative, and it wasn't just from the student services side, it was from IT. This program would not work without IT, and having our CIO hands-on in our initiative, it has been super helpful to faculty members, to the dean's office. So it truly has been a college-wide initiative. And our partnership with Apple has been amazing. They're a great support system where they provide the resources that we need to deploy this type of technology in our campus, from increasing and improving our Wi-Fi to providing that training for our faculty and staff to be able to use these devices in their classroom and out of the classroom. Now I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Dr. Sojovic, so that way she could cover some of our preliminary data and some of our KPIs. Thank you.
Hi, guys. I just want to, first of all, apologize for any background noise that you hear. Can you go ahead and advance to the next slide, Marisol, please? Okay, so as you can see, there were 4 basic key performance indicators that Morton decided to take on as areas of focus. So it's increasing enrollment, retention, and the 3-year graduation rates. Also, we wanted to ensure technical access is equitable across our student population. We wanted to decrease the out-of-pocket costs for students by using these digital resources that they would be able to access using the Panther devices, and also improving student learning and the overall student experience. Next slide, please. So as you can see from this side, our enrollment has fluctuated since 2019. It started at about 4,000 students, and at today's this year's fall 2023, the fall enrollment stands at about 3,600 students. So slight decreases since 2019. Next slide, please. So this just shows the enrollment and retention rates. As you can see, there was a slight increase on the enrollment for the fall, with the exception of the final year, the 2020, where there's a slight drop. and retention fall full-time first-year students has been on a slight incline as well, and we have yet to report on the most recent year. Next slide. Okay, so here you have the numbers of enrollment, retention, and graduation rates for the Panther Digital Initiative students. You can see that there were about, see that, 1 second. So about 335 students that participated. We have the retention of those students from fall of 23 to spring of 24 at 63%. The retention of full-time first-year students from fall 23 to spring 24 is about 64.5%. And then we have the retention of all students that were enrolled from fall 23 to spring 24 at 57%. Slide, please. So here are the numbers for the sections, the open education resources sections. It started off 33 and 21 respectively for spring 23 and summer 23. And then in the fall and the spring, that number drastically increased to about 80 certain sections. Next slide, please. So here we have the inclusive access sections, and Marisol, if you wanted to explain a little bit more about those, you can, but we have the numbers for those particular sections as it stands.
This is one of the pieces that we're truly proud of. As you could see, we were able to increase from, and this is just one year that you could see that, but we have up to 183 courses that are currently using access to inclusive access books, and we've been able to increase that through this initiative.
And the next slide, please. So here, based on a survey from students, about 84% of the students said that they do plan to use the laptops that were distributed this term or for fall 23. And then with regard to another, next slide, please. And 42% of students said that they would, if it were not for these devices, they would have to use their own smartphone devices. This was a really, it seems to be a really good initiative for Morton to take on. Marisol, I'm turning it back over to you.
And this is a quick video of feedback from our students.
Marisol, sorry, unfortunately, we can't pick up audio on this one just yet.
Okay. I don't want to, so what we can do is we could share it in the chat, so that way individuals could watch it as they see fit. So we'll skip it. I know it's great visuals, but it won't make sense if you can't hear. So we apologize for that. All right, perfect. Then we'll our final piece is talking about some of the challenges that we will experience as we continue to expand and continue to implement the initiative. But one is decisions about who we're serving. We recognize that obviously majority of our students are part-time students, and we're focusing through this initiative in full-time, and our goal was to encourage our students to enroll for that full-time, as we know full-time students are most likely to be successful and graduate rather than part-time students. However, we are looking to change that to incorporate part-time students, so that way they are not left out and that they have the devices that they need also. However, that obviously is more students, right, to serve through this initiative. Also, understanding what students need. Sometimes we have an individual instructional technologist that is focused solely on providing workshops and hands-on training to our students, and sometimes it's not our students are not taking advantage of it. So we have developed a student technology ambassador program, so that way peers could serve as that helpful individual. So just really understanding what is it that they need that they for them to use a device to the maximum way possible. And the biggest challenge is some of those grants that we used to purchase the devices are no longer applicable, or we won't have those grants anymore. We use her funding to purchase again some of our Apple devices, and we won't have that. So we're looking at how to institutionalize that to ensure that the initiative continues throughout. And some leadership changes that might impact our ability to continue with the PDI. However, we are continuing next year with it. However, there are some things that we need to consider and change based on what we have learned. Once we have the ability to deep dive, dive deeper into our data, we'll be able to know also how much more we need to change or keep. That concludes our presentation. So we have a few minutes for questions, which I didn't think we were going to have. So I'm excited that we do.
And thank you both, Dr. Marisol and Lisa, for the lightning round session. PCC will upload and share the slide deck, as well as any other resources. In the chat, we did include a link to your website. So kudos to Morton and your team for updating your website. You have some testimonials from students who participated. If you just joined us a little late, we did have some slides that showed how this particular initiative is working. And correct me if I'm wrong to our presenters, but it seems like the retention numbers, you did see an increase, in terms of retention based on the ability for students to access the digital technology for free. So, there's proof that this is working. And so I imagine folks might be interested in understanding how to scale that across the institution. But Dr. Marisol, I know you mentioned that funding continues to be an ongoing challenge as well. So I'd love to hear from the audience. And while we wait for that, I'm curious if either you, Lisa, or Marisol could speak to how this zooming out to the culture of care and how that really has been a guiding philosophy at Morton, and where this fits in, but also other complementary type initiatives or practices are taking root at Morton to ensure that more students are being retained and are thriving.
Right. Our goal is to remove as many barriers as we can. We know that, one of the previous sessions that you all had was about how do we, eliminate some of these costs because books are expensive, right? So that was one of our goals through PDI, is that you would not have to purchase books because your books are in your device, right? And being able to eliminate those costs, it is a huge component to this. Again, we're not at 100% there, but we are working in phases. And again, that's where the faculty are very instrumental in this, because they are working towards either assigning inclusive access or selecting ebooks or open resources where they are able to supplement, not having to purchase those books at those high costs. So again, it goes back to us really wanting to remove any additional barriers that our students are facing, so that way they don't have to decide between buying, or paying for their rent or mortgage or anything like that, and that they can focus on their studies.
And we do have a question in the chat. Thank you, Veronica, from National Louis University, had posed a question. I was interested to hear the point about trying to broaden this to part-time students. We at NLU have a laptop program, but it's narrow in scope, and I'd love to expand. So money is an issue there, as well as I'm sure at a lot of our partner institutions. But can you speak to the part-time, how you're able to broaden
That's
this maybe?
yes, so that's what we're looking into, expanding it to our part-time students, because for us, we don't want to just serve our full-time students when we recognize that majority, 70% of our students are part-time, right? So we are going to continue to focus the next year in our first year students, this is not all part-time students. What we're looking at is increasing it to those students that are enrolled 9 credit hours as opposed to 12 credit hours. So it's still not focusing on the entire part-time student body, right? We have students that enroll for 6 or just one class. However, that's where we're getting creative and where to use the funds, but also how do we align that with our strategic plan, with our equity plans, right? To say this is part of our equity plan, so funds do need to be used for this purpose. So that's why it's important to have the buy-in from across the institution, from your senior leadership to everyone on campus.
Thank you.
Is there any other questions? And please feel free to email us. Unfortunately, our dean, who is working very closely with us, Brandie Windham, was not able to be here due to an emergency, but anything regarding, she works closely with the faculty members in developing the inclusive access and ebooks and all of that sort. So if you have any particular questions on that end, please reach out to us and we'll be happy to answer any questions that you have.
Thank you for that. And it looks like in the chat we have one of our colleagues joining us from Salt Lake Community College in Utah. Rene Zamora Cepeda had noted that he reached out to a local tech nonprofit and was able to purchase used laptops for students. So it sounds like another alternative, to being able to procure some technology and being able to loan that out to students working with local nonprofits in that effort.
Good. One of the things that regarding our program, our students keep the device throughout their entire program. At the end of their graduation, the students are able to purchase a device at the cost, at the market rate cost. So they don't have to return it at the end of the semester. I think that's one of the benefits. We did want our students to feel that this is their device, that they don't, we allow them to download apps or do whatever that they need to do with it, because we didn't want them to feel that this is not mine. I can't, do everything that I want to do. So that was one thing that we really worked on to make sure that our students didn't feel that that the device didn't pertain to them.
Sorry, Marisol. So we are very close to the end of this session. Again, we thank you for all the work that you all are spearheading at Morton College in the service of your students, and following through in terms of providing equitable access to open education resources, to digital technology. We thank you. And again, a reminder to all who joined us today or who are registered for this event, you will be able to access the full presentation, the slide deck, as well as the video recording. I do want to highlight, so if you have your agenda available, we are going to pause for a 30-minute break. So the next 30 minutes, we will give that time to you. Take a lunch break or a snack break or a bio break, however you want to spend that time. We will then come back virtually to our fireside chat. You don't want to miss that. That will begin promptly at 12 noon Central Standard Time, which will feature our own Senior Director of College and University Partnerships, Dr. Claudia Mercado, who's going to have a conversation with Dr. Sarah Goldrick-Robb. And so please join us for that. And again, we thank you all for being with us, and we hope you have a great rest of your afternoon.
Thank you.